Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So Erik ten Hag has been speaking ahead of a crunch FA Cup game for Manchester United. A must win. We've got to keep our season alive. And after defeat against Fulham has pretty much written off any hope that we have of top four. Or maybe I'm being too pessimistic. I don't know. You lot tell me in the comments below. Manchester United need to beat Forest. And ahead of the game, Ten Hag has been speaking about that upcoming game, but also been caught in what the tabloids would call a war for words with ex-Liverpool defender Jamie Carragher, who is now obviously a pundit on Monday Night Football. Now, Ten Hag has been reacting to some of the comments made by Jamie Carragher in Monday Night Football, and we'll be looking at some of those comments from Jamie Carragher and figuring out whether Ten Hag's reaction is warranted or not. You lot get your thoughts in the comments below as well. How are you feeling ahead of that game against Nottingham Forest? It's a pretty worrying one for Manchester United because, as I said, I think a defeat and our season's pretty much over, and we're then looking at what is going to happen with Erik ten Hag between now and May, because they're going to have to address that situation, aren't they? They're going to have to address it. And when I say they, I mean Ineos, the new co-owners and all those kind of guys who are making so many changes. Look, we'll get stuck into it. But Ten Hag has called, that performance against Fulham unacceptable. I tell you what will be unacceptable. Defeat against Forest. Manchester United's season being over on the 28th of February. That is what will be unacceptable. And Manchester United, Erik ten Hag, the players and everyone involved have to fight to ensure that that does not happen, because that is totally unacceptable. And Manchester United's hopes of being in the Champions League. I know people will talk about mathematically and stuff. We've lost 10 games this season. And listen, I'm going on a rant. I'll carry that rant on a little bit later on. But let's look at Ten Hag, his comments, and Jamie Carragher's analysis as well. Erik ten Hag has hit back at Jamie Carragher's subjective, he's quoted as saying, analysis of Man United on Monday Night Football. United's 4-game winning run in the Premier League ended on Saturday with a 2-1 home defeat to Fulham, keeping them 8 points adrift of the Champions League places. 8 points already. Oh man. And we're not going to catch it, is it? We're not going to catch them. Unless something disastrous happens to those teams ahead of us, we're not going to catch them. And it looks like 5th place isn't going to bring Champions League football either. So with that being said, it's going to be difficult. Sky Sports' Carragher highlighted why recent results have masked the problems with Ten Hag's system, which has left them so susceptible defensively even when winning games. But Ten Hag fired back at Carragher's analysis ahead of their FA Cup 5th round tie at Nottingham Forest on Wednesday, saying some analysis are objective in their comments. Very good advices, some of them offer, and some are very subjective. Jamie Carragher is one of them. For the first moment, he is criticising, and now he wants to make his point. I find it difficult when you're saying all that, and then you go on to say, but actually in the first half an hour, he had a point. If you don't laugh, you'll cry at this point. Fulham surprised with their midfield setup, and we had to find a solution. We did after half an hour. Did we? Did we? And this is what I mean. Coming out of that game, he said something about things kind of being positive and looking on the bright side and that. And that worried me, because those are the kind of things you hear from a manager who knows the writing's on the wall. And he's trying to keep up appearances and trying to show the owners and co-owners and everyone that actually things are going really well. Unless he's had some talks with the co-owners behind closed doors, which have led him to feel more positive about his situation and positive that the change is going to come, which enables him to get the results, then I don't know. Look, the injury problems have been massive for us. You look at Manchester United, and some of the comments that Jamie Carragher made are on about, organisational things. It must be difficult when on the training pitch you've constantly got players and key players injured, but still you should be seeing some patterns of play emerging, and we're not. And it is a common pattern of play, the one that Jamie Carragher pointed out. And you look at some of the goals we've conceded this season, you're always seeing players just chasing after the ball and chasing shadows. And that happens far too often. Those turnovers, United chasing shadows. And that's why I feel sorry for Onana at points in time. He's never had a settled defence in front of him. He's facing so many shots on a regular basis. Must be quite difficult. The manager said, I wasn't pleased with the defensive performance, especially down the left side. Doesn't help when we've got Harry Maguire diving out, missing tackles, leaving huge gaping holes that Rafael Varane then has to decide which way to go, left or right. Do I have to grab him or grab him? So much holes in there when you start diving out of position like that. playing with Victor Lindelof at left back, not helping. And these are players that the manager wouldn't have wanted in those positions, but you still have to drill them to not be making these stupid mistakes. Especially down the left side, and that has everything to do with willingness, spirit and passion. That was good in previous weeks, therefore we won football games. When people start talking about spirit, passion and willingness, I get worried. He says, footballers are not robots. Sometimes they have bad days. It was unacceptable and we have to do better tomorrow. When he says tomorrow, he means against Forest, and Manchester United have to win that game. And we've already lost there at the City Ground. You know Morgan Gibbs-White and all those fellas are going to be well up for it. Manchester United have to turn up against Forest. And the fact that we're going into that game and I'm shitting it about a result says all you need to know about where we are. We're so fragile. Emotionally fragile on the football pitch. We fall apart far too easily. One goal can ruin our whole mentality. There's no one of the things I felt Ten Hag had last season, even when things went badly, was control. You know, things weren't perfect, but we were pretty good last season, and he had control over everything. United, you kind of knew what to expect when we went out there. And granted, we're without some key players, and I think you kind of have to keep saying that because, you know, missing the kind of players we have been missing is difficult. But we're lacking so much control, man. So much control. It's just a basketball game every single game. And that's kind of what Carragher was talking about. He was speaking about how Manchester United were facing so many shots, and we faced 20 or more shots in the Premier League 12 times already this season. That's why we're losing so many games, because there's no control. And I've said it many times. I know we've had Mason Mount out injured for a big period. We've had Casemiro out injured for a big period in the season. We've been playing at times. We've had Eriksen out injured for a big period of the season. We've been playing with McTominay in midfield. That never offers you any control. I know, but you got to coach a team a bit to I don't know, build around it somehow maybe. And there were times where we were picking McTominay and we didn't have to. You brought in Sofian Amrabat, who we chased all summer. We've hardly seen him. What's going on there? He was apparently a solution to some of the problems we were facing. Like, I don't get what's going on at this moment in time. Recruitment has to be better, of course. But we have to be getting better out of what's there at the moment, and we're simply not. He says, over the last few weeks, this is Carragher, by the way, United have been in great form, but still the underlying numbers have been really poor. They're very fortunate, so we're not talking about them now just because they lost against Fulham. It's about performance. They defend like a team I've never seen before. They like to press high with a deep block, and as you know, pressing high with a deep block doesn't make sense. You have to have one or the other. And Jamie Carragher spoke about that, how it's a lack of understanding on the pitch, but also positional problems in possession as well. I think Jamie Carragher's right, although, you know, he'll enjoy it. And he'll enjoy digging it in a little bit sometimes. Because he's obviously ex-Liverpool and he's not going to want Man United to do well. But I also think he's pretty fair in his criticism there. So we've just got to address that, man. That's what the manager's got to do between now and the end of the season. He's on trial for his job. And I want him to succeed. But me wanting him to succeed doesn't mean he will. And I just start to feel sometimes that, are these just the final throws of the dice, really? And he's doing things that are uncharacteristic of him. And, you know, I hope that's not the case. Because I like him as a coach. I think he's a very good coach with the right structure in the club and everything. Who knows what can happen, but have we already gone too far down the line like we did so many times with so many other fantastic coaches? I don't know. Let us know your thoughts. But defeat at Forest, unacceptable. The amount of defeats we've had this season, unacceptable. The amount of goals we've been conceding this season, unacceptable. And it's got to change. Let us know your thought in the comments below.